Welcome to the DragonShip, gentlemen. Today, there do I see my mother, and my sisters, and my brothers. Lo, there I see the line of my people. Back to the beginning. Lo, they call to me. They bid me to take my place amongst them in the halls of Valhalla, where the brave may live forever. But until then, let's talk about the love languages of the blue pill. Here we go on the DragonShip. We're ready. Number one, you shall love her for earth and forever. 2, it's always your fault. 3, you shall fight night. 4, we are nothing without her. 5, women are always better. 'This is how you properly put a woman above you. Where a rising tide lifts all ships, including the whammies, if we love them. I'm RP Thor, and we got a good one for you today. That mini dress. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the DragonShip. The love language is the blue pill. Guys, we're going to have fun with this one today. Hey, before we get started with all of that, welcome, Paul. Man, we chopped it up and had a good one on Rule Zero today. AJ, happy to have you here. Wraith, good to have you here. We're broadcasting on all streams. We are up at broadcast depth, broadcasting our pirate signal in the RP, and got some controversy today. The blue pill, we were all raised with full knowledge of the blue pill, the white picket fence, the cute little family, everything perfect if we're Mr. Nice Guy. There are languages and there are levels to this onion of the blue pill. We're going to talk about it today, but first, before we even get there, bear with me. I want to talk about what November is all about, and it is not No Nut November. Oh, no, 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 no. November is sales, Black Friday, and every one of us here has something to offer for all of you guys, and even free stuff. So we're going to talk about it right now. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the free stuff and the good stuff that you can get here right this moment. So here we go. Let's get rid of that, and then see if I can get some professionalism here and get right to it. So here we go. Let's share. Hey, that is not it. How come I'm not on my stuff? Let's try that. Let's get rid of that. Stop sharing. How come they change stuff on StreamYard all the time? Share screen. Yeah. Window. Where is my stuff? It's right here.
Sharing the screen is the hardest thing for me on StreamYard.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there it is. Why would it do that? I clicked on this. I had it loaded anyway. Anyways, guys, we'll start with me. Look, Red Pill Thor has a discount going this November all the way to the 18th of the month. And guess what? The response has been fantastic. The very first thing you can do is check out all of my old lectures. They're not really that old. I've done them right up till, September of this year. All of them, there's 9 hours here. These used to be $189 each, and they were selling well. But for November, for everybody that watches this, you can go on there and you can absolutely get these at a discount. It's $88.21. And the most popular one right now is how to become a lineman. And of course, it's followed by a dominant masculine presence, which is my original lecture that I've turned into a book, which you can absolutely get signed copies of that book right here. And all I'm charging you is shipping. You can even get an audio version of the book at a deep discount here on Gumroad. It's $11.99. You get 5 hours and 20 minutes of my wonderful voice reading to you my book, A Dominant Masculine Presence. And really what that's all about is, learning how to cultivate your authentic self as a man and display supreme confidence and control over how you're perceived in the world. Believe it or not, that makes a huge difference. And if you apply that with Paul's Law of Attraction course, holy shit, you're unstoppable. I mean, he's done it. And now guess what? Paul himself is releasing a book. Shall we go and look at Paul's book? It's Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. Now look at this. It is a top new release in teen, young adult, mind and spirit.
It's actually number one in 3 categories. If you scroll down.
Okay, let's do that.
Right down there.
Number 1 in new release in young adult, sexuality, pregnancy, and pregnancy. Right on, brother. All right. How does that happen? Teen, young adult, nonfiction, sexuality, and pregnancy. I just said that. It's the same category, is it not?
They're similar. Well. Yeah, they're similar.
Then there's teen, young adult, fitness, and exercise. I love it, dude. Check this out. Look at this, guys. We gotta share. This guy's at your car. Look at this. Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. Now it's available for pre-order, right, Paul?
For Kindle, you can get it for 99 cents right now.
Look at that cover. Holy crap. Look at that. It's amazing. Now there's a special edition out there too, but I'll say that, Paul. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book before we get into the topic today? Because, I really want people to head there and take a look at this thing.
Yeah. So when I decided I was going to write a book, I knew I didn't want to just do like another dating book, right? Even though like a lot of my channel is dating and relationship stuff. I've learned so much since I got divorced, at 35. Over these last years, I've learned so much about, finance and retirement planning. I've learned, I was raised with the paradigm that you have to go to college or you're never going to be successful in life. That's not true at all. That's, there's all this stuff that I wished I knew when I was 18, that if I would have made different choices in life, one about not getting married right away. Like I was that kid that rushed out, got married when I was 20 years old. I wasn't even old enough to buy alcohol. Just dumb shit like that I wish someone would have sat down and said, hey man, look, you've got all this time. You don't need to do this. This is how you date. This is how you pick a career to where you could actually, live the life that you want. I talk about, when it comes to that, I talk about picturing your life and what you want it to be like in 20 years, 20, 30 years, and working backwards from there to figure out the kind of career that will get you there, because most people don't do that. They go, oh, well, you're really good at math. You should, I don't know, be an accountant. Well, you might do that, but you might not be happy doing that, just because you're good at math. But that's the kind of shit that your teachers will tell you.
Right.
But you don't plan for the life that you want to live. So I talk about that kind of stuff in the book as well. And then at the end, once you've built this great life for yourself, well, then you can worry about the girls. And then I talk about how to get the girls. And then if you want to be in some kind of long-term relationship, because I think most guys do, I talk about what it takes to maintain that relationship in the long term. And then the last chapter is on marriage and children. And the whole premise is, well, you don't need like the long-term relationship is all you really need. You don't need to get the state involved, but for some people that's still, the end state for them. So then I talk about what you need to do to prepare for that, prenuptial agreements, trusts, all that kind of stuff to protect your assets, because that's another thing that people don't talk about. It's all pie in the sky bullshit. And that's not reality these days. And then when it comes to kids, you don't need to, there's never a great time to have kids, but sometimes they're better than others. Like having a kid in high school or just out of high school, that will make achieving all these goals so much more difficult than it needs to be. And guys have time on their hands.
You know what I really like about your book, though, is having looked at it, is that it's really an honest look at these things. And coming from your blue pill training and understanding human intersectional dynamics was really the core of the praxeology of the red pill. It's really actual advice. I'm getting feedback from somebody, so let's take a quick look here. Okay, good. And I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to working with you on the next steps for the book as well. So
yeah, because Thor's going to be doing the reading for the audiobook. So we're tag teaming it. I'm doing
read the book on how I learned everything when I was 40, and now I wish I knew when I was 18. Okay.
But yeah, so I'm going to be reading like the up to through the intro, and then I'm going to read the conclusion and the last little bits. But Thor's going to handle the because I want someone with a gravelly, dominant, masculine voice.
Give me that, really. I'll give you that. I'll give you the good.
The ASMR, I really needed voice.
That. So Mike Steele last time said, I love the audio of your book, but I fall asleep. Oh, thanks, man. It's supposed to be good stuff. Hey, real quick, channel sponsor shout out, Aaron Cappy Clary. He released a book called A World Without Men. Look at this amazingly artistic and enthusiastic cover of his book, which is so stunning. And it's revealing about the nature of our society today, in which, look at that. It's such a stunning Microsoft Paint artwork cover. It's going to sell that book and launch it into the stratosphere. And he will have a special place in history with that kind of cubism that I can really appreciate. So go check it out. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for Mr. Clary's A World Without Men, which is really kind of an economist's analysis of an all-female economy. If truly we wanted to move past egalitarian equalism and put the women in charge, let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. And this analysis really kind of indicates that. And I didn't get to say it in the last one, but he teases us, Paul and Glenn, he teases us at the end with something that just fascinated the hell out of me. I mean, I love this. He says at the end of this book, because the question is, what does it look like? Analysis of all-female economy. And it's kind of bleak a little bit, I'm sorry to say. And this is not to slam women. I love women. Absolutely. What is that song? If there's no sluts in heaven, then I want to go to hell. Anyway, he answers this and leaves everyone with two important existential questions. One day, what is left to live for if we don't have each other as men and women? I think that's an important question. And two, what do we do in the meantime? Well, Aaron Clary answered that question amply with his previous book, which was an essay called The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex. And he did so brilliantly, and with the actuaries from, I don't know what, insurance industry, the General Survey, the World Health Organization. Very fascinating. And the second question, so what do we do about this, is going to be answered in the sequel to this book, An Economy of One. So damn it, Aaron, you left me hanging with a cliffhanger here on this book. I can't stand it. So with that, we want to get in today. Well, let's welcome the the panel members today. And we're going to go ahead and minimize this for now, but we're going to talk about the love languages of the blue pill. Welcome, Mr. Producer. Happy to have you on board today. How are you doing out there in lovely Las Vegas?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just working on some projects. I gotta start doing a Sunday show because at a popular request. So I'm gonna start doing a Sunday evening show that I'm working on. So yeah.
Well, that's good. What's it gonna be? What is it gonna be, brother? I mean, I caught your show last time you did with Elena's Bar, which is shout out to her, and then that was with Donovan Sharp. I saw you doing the producing and all of that stuff, and then the How to Relationship. We were rolling on the floor. That was a supremely good episode, by the way, which you produced there at Red One Studios.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So Sunday is going to be called Saving Men's Sermons.
Saving Men's Sermons?
Yeah, Saving Men's Sermons.
What is the sermons?
Well, they're just basically going to be going through biblical masculinity through the Bible, telling guys where it's biblically sound to be a patriarch and a masculine man, and how the Bible instructs guys that's what they ought to do. Because that's not being said in the church.
Okay. MLD used to do something similar on Sundays when he did his Sunday sermon podcast.
Who does?
What was it?
MLD used to do something similar on Sundays with his Sunday sermon podcast where he's like reading out of like Corinthians and other parts of the Bible. Yeah.
So it kind of be doing the same thing. There was a request from one of my viewers to start doing it, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Right.
And the funny thing is, one of the things I'm going to destroy is the love languages. So today is just a preview.
Okay.
You know who's a good person to have on your show to talk about that? Paul Benjamin. He loves shitting on the love languages.
Oh yeah, me and him have had a great conversation about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this will be good. That would be a good one. So let me bring up the love languages. Or no, let's finish with the panel. Let's talk to Wraith. We haven't seen you in a week. What's up to, man? Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing. I am going to be in California next week. I'll be with Ruslan again, round 2. And that will be on Monday. So yeah, besides that, that's it.
Oh, perfect. Appreciate that. I have a little bit of a dilemma here. Hang on. There's a little bit of something going on here. Sorry. Okay. All right. We're kind of set up. Okay. So, Wraith, how are you doing, brother? I mean, you and I are similar of age. You and I have been raised really with nothing more than what we were taught as far as interacting with men and women. Now, I don't know if you have the same opinions having come to, red pill knowledge, because I think you're similar to me. We kind of had half of it in the back of our mind from experiences that we had. Something was, at least for me, something wasn't quite right. And then it took me years to understand. And then when I actually put it all together with the help of the likes of, Rollo and some of the blogs and stuff, I went, oh my gosh, this is really interesting, because I'm a guy that looks at the facts and probabilities, and whatever is most probable, because I use Occam's razor, whatever is most likely, what the evidence points to, is probably correct, even if it's unflattering and really difficult to understand. I kind of came to that realization that most everything that I was taught in school or from other adults in my family included was completely incompatible with having good relationships as I grew up. Did you find any of that? And that's what I call the blue pill. It's the Disney fantasy that was broadcast to me. Be yourself. Even if you're a fat slob, that's yourself. Somebody will actually find you. There is a soul out there that is searching just for you. And if you do everything right and you're nice enough, that will find its way right to you. Did you have that experience, or did you experience something different, Wraith?
I think,
yeah,
I think it's sold that way. But the reality of it is I think if you do be yourself, okay, you will find someone, but is someone you want, and I think one of the things is that I found is, confidence breeds attraction. And I think, that was one of the things that, our generation, we weren't taught as much to focus on the white picket fence or anything. That's more of a 50s thing. You get into the 60s and 70s, it was, go out and conquer the world kind of thing after Vietnam. And I think that's kind of where I was, growing up. It was, I got to go out and be the best me.
Now, that's interesting that you say that, because I think that's really important. So I think you probably had a more realistic view of men versus women, and maybe that was from your background being raised in that fashion, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had some very successful marriages right out the get-go. So it's probably hard to conceptualize what some of these guys go through from experience.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I tell guys, I've never been zeroed out in that sense. I've never had a problem navigating marriages or women.
Yet you recognize the cardinal rule of power in a relationship and frames importance. So you already have some of these as a base foundation, and I believe they served you quite well, versus what guys are being, generally taught by our media to pedestalize women, all of that sort of thing. I mean, surely you heard some of that coming up in the church.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen it, and I've seen, in friends, I've seen it, in other family members. But, luckily my father was all about go out and be you, be the best you, and everything else will happen.
So you didn't speak many of the love languages of the blue pill then originally.
I didn't even know there were love languages until about 5 years ago when it became popular.
Good deal, Wraith. Let's go ahead and put AJ in the hot seat and get his perspective. Now, you're of a different generation, so you definitely have been taught some of the love languages of the blue pill, which is one-nightist is the most amazing thing ever. If you do what you're supposed to and you follow these rules both inside and outside of a religious context, then you accept that everything is your fault 100% of the time. Just say you're sorry and move forward from there. And if you're not doing enough, if she's upset, it's because you're not doing enough. You're not vulnerable enough. These are all components of love languages of the blue pill. And so it's really kind of your fault if you're not having successful relationships with women and you're going about it all wrong. You creep trying to approach women that obviously don't see you as attractive. So AJ, give us your examples of what blue pill love languages has done in your life, and then take us up to where you took the, shall we say, the proverbial red pill suppository.
All right. So I'd say my biggest blue pill thing that I learned from actually my parents, and like I love my parents to death, is the major provisioning. Like my dad never really showed my mom a lot of affection, but he was there to be like the workhorse provider. So I translated that into my failed marriage and my failed engagement. And I even went as far as I actually have a copy of the 5 love languages here, trying to fix my relationship before I took the red pill suppository. And that relationship failed like it should have. And then using the stuff that I've learned from gentlemen such as yourself, Thor, Paul, Wraith, and Glenn, I actually just let one of my main chick go just because she acted out once and kind of saw the behaviors of my past. I'm like, oh, no, this ain't going to happen again. Put my foot down, set my boundaries, and ejected. And I don't I kind of feel bad about it. And that's probably a little bit of the blue pill conditioning still left in me. I mean, I cared for her as a human being and, but it's like, once I see that behavior, I need to eject.
Looking back at that, what was the most prominent blue pill concepts that led you to that? Was it the white knighting, or was it Mr. Nice Guy concept?
I'd say it's a combination of Mr. Nice Guy and Captain Save-A-Ho.
Captain Save-A-Ho. Give us a little bit of example of that, because that's going to fit right in with the White Knight segment I want to talk about. Because, you know, in my little commandments that the pseudo Moses was pointing at the most beautiful woman in the world and pointing at her in that wonderful flower printed mini dress that I put right up there to attract the Mr. Producer into our show today. He stated that even though she's never wrong, but ye shall white knight. Ye shall white knight is a commandment of the love languages of the blue pill. What do you think about that? So would you kind of think that, you know, some of that applied to you?
Oh yeah. It's like I said, a combination of the nice guy with the Captain Sabaho, where I'd date these broken women, for lack of a better term. And then because of being a dude, it's like, I need to solve her problems. And I wouldn't listen to her just vent. I'd be like, all right, here's my advice. And then when they came back to me like, hey, your advice didn't work, did you actually do it?
Yeah.
You know, and then like it gets all crazy and shit. Apologize for the swear.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, you're very familiar with the nice guy stuff. Let's put you in the hot seat. What were you taught about the blue pill? Because I think you had some of that, and all the Mr. Nice Guy followed the whole flow. I mean, you kind of had the script in front of you forever, huh?
Yeah, man. I talk about a lot in the podcast how I was running for that white picket fence, man. Like every girl I dated, literally every girl I dated before I got married and up into I got married, I was looking at her like, oh, she's my future wife. Oh, this is it. She's my soulmate. This one's my soulmate, right? And so there was a lot of that conditioning. No more Mr. Nice Guy stuff. I'm actually reading it for the third time again. I'm going through my third pass on that. There's a lot of stuff in that book that I've forgotten, you know, and we don't really tend to truly understand and have a good grasp of books until we've read them multiple times. So this, you know, there's things that are popping up in this book that I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that, you know, or I didn't hear that part before. But, you know, a lot of the covert contract stuff, simple stuff, like you telling your girl that you love her all the time because really you want that validation back from her that she loves you, and you're just constantly going, you know, what are you sure you love me? Like, why do you like, you know, like you want, just wanting your girl to constantly validate you as a covert contract. It's highly unattractive behavior. It's fucking needy. It's neediness. I'm sorry, Thor. I need to stop cursing so much. I'm a sailor though, so
I'm gonna get a funny little GIF or something, because they take GIFs now, and I can put that in our brand. So we got to get something like a big flip off or something when somebody curses, like a middle finger just kind of rising up or something. So we got to start tracking it for everybody. So I think that'd be funny as hell, you know.
Usually after the 8-minute mark, we're safe. But
yeah, we're safe. We're safe. Now, interesting.
I just want to clarify. I was singled out for cursing, and I haven't said a bad word yet.
No, I have though. I have. Yeah.
I've dropped it as well. I'm like, oh crap.
For anybody that want to know, we got demonetized last week, and I wrote them back because I had an appeal, and they came back in it for over 18, and in there was cursing, and I went in and I listened. I went, oh crap! I used Elena's sound drop like 30 times, and then we kind of all went off the rails early on the cursing, which, you know, hey,
there's a reason why we're supposed to refer to women as 304s on YouTube to get around that. Because if you use the real word, that was part of it. That's heavily frowned upon.
Yes, it was. And
which goes back to white knighting.
Here's the thing. We are men of discipline and freedom, and we choose when we want to embellish by using that. And it can be overused. And I noticed I kind of went through a lot of, I had some time when I was working. I listened to a lot of podcasts, and there's guys in our space that are really overusing that, and it detracts from our message when it's overused. So we have to be smarter than that in order to keep that tide going up. And that's all I'll say about that. And I think that it's a little more elegant and actually expresses more dominance when we do it at the right time. It shatters the earth everybody's standing on because it is used so rarely. And when that happens, we make our points, and it's listened to, you know.
I was going to say something to Paul about, because I just finished up my second go around on No More Mr. Nice Guy, and Ryan Stone actually brings up a good point in his breakdown of it, that you start making your own, like you start realizing you have covert contracts on your covert contracts.
Now that's interesting. The covert contracts. Now, can you two talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's foundational That's a foundational love language of the blue pill, is to establish covert contracts in your relationships right from the beginning.
Oh, that's a big part of why the 5 love languages, the actual 5 love language, is a problem, especially when you're trying to use it to fix a relationship. You're doing these
Yep,
nice
I'll bring those up
guy
in a
things.
second once we
Yeah.
understand covert contracts. I'll bring them up. You can talk to it.
But it's about doing things to get something out of someone else without clearly making your needs known, right?
Sounds-
Let's say that I do need my girl to give me reassurance a lot on how she loves me. Like, you need to, if you don't tell her that and you're doing stuff like saying I love you and buying her flowers and stuff so that she'll say that, that's a covert contract. You're doing things expecting something in return. And then when they don't give you that thing in return, you resent them for that. You're like, look, I do all this nice stuff for you and you don't ever tell me you love me. That's a covert contract.
Let me paraphrase that, because I think women do this a lot as well. Is that because I've heard conversations when I've coached or consulted with couples, is that the covert contract may be such that, if I do this and I do that, I expect something in return, but I've never actually verbalized and set a boundary that I am exchanging something for this service or this love or this need. And on the reverse side with the woman is, if you did more chores around here, I'd be more interested in blowjobs. And that's never actually laid out. Now that's a whole nother subject, but women will do this as well too. They're expecting a certain behavior without ever telling you that behavior would be meaningful for them. And you're expected to know it because your social acuity is at such a level, because she picks so wisely this amazing man. And if he doesn't demonstrate that to her, he must not love you. So that's a form of a covert contract too. You're laying out something that you want to get without ever defining the terms of that contract. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, very much so.
And like where I was going with is like the covert contracts that you build upon the covert contracts is this is why I like to actually, because I'm going through Paul's LOA course. It's like, say if you buy a course or you buy a book and you like read it and you don't do the actionable advice afterwards and you fail, and it's like, well, I bought this book, well, I bought this course, why did I fail? Instead of actually going through and doing the actionable advice. And that's why I like the practical guide that Paul's given us, and like other books in the sphere.
Yeah, for sure. Let me get to Glenn, because I want Glenn to talk about. Glenn's faced a really unique circumstance out of all of us. He was raised in unique circumstances, but also as a theologian, he also is experienced even more of these covert contracts in a different context. But a lot of it is definitely blue pill based. 'Cause I remember having a conversation with him. You felt so betrayed because all of this was given to you, and the fact this is real. Even the church gave you a covert contract that if you did all of these things, you'd have an amazing wife, amazing life. All of this would be good, but those definitions and what you were actually to do was never thoroughly defined for you and your wife. And so, how did you deal with the blue pill growing up in the realization that wasn't?
Well, taking the blue pill and taking this whole love language thing, right? The 5 love languages, or the blue pill love language, however you want to word it. It's like taking a virus, right? And if the virus spreads through the body, it's going to take a long time to get that out, right? You have to have the antidote. You have to, it's like COVID. I mean, in a way, it's like COVID, because it attaches and mutates itself, and you guys think it's going to be something that it isn't. The 5 love languages, or just the blue pill love languages alone, entirely is based on emotion. It's all based on emotion, right? This is my love language. Well, here's the problem for any religious people that hold on to these love languages. The love languages aren't even biblical. there are not love languages. There are desires. They're love
So
desires.
let me define real quickly. When I talk about the blue pill love languages, this is an overall arch of the blue pill as
Yeah.
we know it, as it was taught to us growing up. The 5 love languages was written with that in mind to specify a
Yes.
set of actions that just so happen to be blue pill. So we kind of want to distinguish between.
Yeah. And so it's like okay, nice guys. I was talking about this, and I talked to Paul about this before. Women don't like nice guys. They don't like bad boys either, because bad boys hurt them. But they'll go from the bad boy to the nice guy and overlook the what I would call the good guy, good patriarchy, because patriarchy is what they consider bad, because they experienced bad patriarchy with the bad boy, right? That they couldn't lock down. So anything that looks patriarchal, they're like, that's not good. I want a nice guy. Well, the nice guy is the most deceptive, manipulative guy out of all the guys, because he's going into this game trying to speak chick talk to get them to, open their legs for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now I get that. I do get that. Especially today. I think that we were all taught basic blue pill. I mean, one-itis is big in your arena that you teach. That's a big battle that is going to be tough for you and your arena to win from, because that is the soulmate. That is propagated at such a level even today. We'll look at that in a minute, because I want to talk about that. Another love language is white knight. It's taught to men that there's this language of white knight. Now, I'm kind of making fun of the 5 love languages as written as a self-help or a self-relationship guide. I think there's some value in that, and I'll put that up on the screen in just a second here, Glenn, and especially Paul. I want you guys to be able to look at it, because I think there's going to be a lot of response. We have all read the book because we want the knowledge. I think there's a lot here in the blue pill that is based on emotionalism, and that really connects with women. Definitely connects, and it's starting to connect with men as well. Hey, Elena, nice to see you.
I want to back up just a minute here.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to say this: if you read the Bible, and Glenn, you can disagree with me on it, the Bible is one of the most red pill books written.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we interpret it in order to get people in the doors is the problem.
Yeah, it's the hermeneutics.
Yeah.
Rollo kind of goes over that in religion.
Hermeneutals, what's that?
Hermeneutics is it really is the Greek word for interpretation. It is the practice of interpretation. So if I wrote a letter to Thor, said, Thanksgiving is coming, I'm excited, right? And Thor is excited because I just told him Thanksgiving is coming, right? Then I'm the original author, Thor, the original recipient. We understand the context of this letter. Now, let's say Thor drops the letter, Paul finds the letter, and he reads the letter. Thanksgiving is coming. And now Paul's freaked out because he doesn't know what Thanksgiving is, right? So he's interpreting it incorrectly, not knowing what the original context of the letter is. I said I'm bringing the banging yams. Paul freaked out, thinks I'm bringing something to bang over his head, and it might be a yam. It's bad interpretation. So in order to practice hermeneutics, and you do this with like Shakespeare, you do this with any like old literature, you have to understand the context of what the author was meaning, what the original recipient is meaning, understanding, and then before you can start extrapolating and taking things out of it and applying it to your own understanding. What we tend to do is we'll read something and then we'll put our own understanding into that, passage or that phrase, and that's what we think it means, and people misquote scripture all the time in this process, and we do that even with any form, like I said, any old literature needs practice of hermeneutics.
So, Glenn, I guess you agree then with Wraith. Wraith, did you add more to add?
No, I just think, and what Glenn's talking about, when we read it and we read it with our own interpretation, then we start practicing relativism. How does it relate to us, and how can I make me feel good about it? And that's what's happening. And then there's not only just individual relativism, there's social relativism on what social construct can we apply to this, and how can we make our interpretation of this apply to that social construct. And that's what's happening in churches, and it's turning it into a social construct Bible, I guess, in the sense that how do we make everybody happy? And the Bible isn't about making everybody happy. It's about teaching them the way life is supposed to be,
Morality.
And it's also teaching them that there are going to be times when you're going to be challenged, when that morality is going to be challenged, and you have to stand up to that.
Okay.
And that's, like I said, the Bible is the most red pill book written, if you understand it. And like he said, you read it literally and you read it contextually.
Okay.
There are some things that are
I will agree that it has a lot of red pill elements. One thing I will say, though, the one thing that I probably will diverge on is the blue pill. Now, remember, the blue pill and the red pill are analogies. One of them is for sleeping and being blinded to the reality of the world. And then the red pill is being revealed to the world what it actually is. And there's analogies like that in the Bible. But when you take that red pill, which, by the way, in the pill, it's a suppository because that's how rough it is. But what happens is you see the unflattering truth, and many people want to go back. They really want to go back. And this is a big problem with a lot of the religious issues and the red pill. They have red pill examples in the Bible, but they want to mix it with the blue pill ideals that made them feel comforted, that there was something at the end. And that's the purple pill side, and that is not reality either.
But that's relativism. That's what I was talking about.
It is. It really is. And so part of that is with the blue pill is a lot of people are trying to address this kind of this sleepwalking through life, this imaginary ideals that we have for relationships. They're kind of a fantasy. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this up for Paul and for AJ. I want to add, where is it? Hey, before we get there, you guys ready for some comedic relief?
Always.
All right, so I'm going to add to the stage a little video I made a while ago that kind of talks a little bit about the blue pill languages. Here we go. 3 minutes, guys. We'll laugh. It'll change the pace. Here we go. This is blue pill Thor speaking, by the way. Feign a bloody diarrhea attack and get out of there. Fear not. This will resolve all of your issues that you're crying about. Man, if you're stuck on the internet, if you're bitching about people for 8-hour streams, you're worried about homosexuality, when the poon dries up, follow these simple steps to regain poon mastery instantly. This is really intended for black pillar, non-Viking, scientifically proven by 6 double-blinded, deaf, avatar-hiding, leading internet experts, and works 100% of the time and has the feminist California stamp of approval on approving your male life. God damn it, man, this is so important. Don't you understand this? Never so much as glance at another woman. You will cling to your woman like a bloody scabbed over hemorrhoid clings to an ass hair. Is so golden. You are the best ever. Even our legal and political system is built around this one principle law of the universe. It's immutable. How could you possibly see it otherwise? Let the woman make all the rules, goddammit. Once you recognize her innate ability to remain calm in any situation, face change with stoic indifference, and maintain the same personality day in, day out, no matter what, you'll understand it is only natural to let her direct the relationship. This is actually Oprah approved, and all media and social media endorses this principle that let women make the rules. So just be happy and let them make the rules and follow them like a good little boy. Guys, swimming upstream, it's not cutting it. Get with the program. You'll be happy. Let's put it that way. And you'll be fulfilling your purpose. Number 4. 16. This is the final step that will complete your life in all matters and make you the man you need to be in today's society. This is the cure to MGTOW and the black pill. And most certainly, most men on Twitch follow this. When she withdraws from you sexually, beg. Give your woman everything she gives you and then some. At least 3 to 1 principle. Don't leave a single deed unnoticed or unreciprocated. When she sends you a text, send her at least 2. That's right, 2. You will be thankful that you have become fully dependent on one single woman for all of your romantic affection and steady supply of poon. Hold the poon.
Well, there you go, man. Now that leads right into the 5 love languages. You know, I'm serious, man. Beg. What 99.9% of all men do when the poon is withdrawn. Beg. That is a blue pill love language. Beg.
All right. When your girl pulls away, chase her harder.
Chase her harder. Oh, sorry, guys. This is okay, Miles.
That part right there where you're talking about look at another chick.
Miles. I love Miles Doodling. Look what he says, guys. It's hilarious. This is Ruslan advice. So my little 3-minute clip was Ruslan advice. Holy crap. Glenn, you're going to have to make him watch that. Oh, I'm having too much fun. Oh, anyway, you gotta make fun of yourself a little bit, you know. Anyway, blue pill languages. Look, these are the 5 love languages Paul is so familiar with. These are the words of affirmation, the acts of service, which, you know, the quality time, the giving of gifts, and physical. So this is how it's laid out. Words of affirmation. I'll just put it this way. These are very emotionally charged, and you can learn a lot about how women think about behaviors emotionally by reading this book. And I think that's the number one benefit you can read. In application, if this is not timed or at least understood with the red pill praxeology in mind about how actually hypergamy, solipsism, dual mating strategy works, your probability of success here is not good long term. But there are good things to understand here when it comes to communication. So I won't go full slam on the 5 love languages, not at all. I think the intent was good, just like the nice guy intent is good on paper. We're taught to be a nice guy to the girl, and our soulmate will appear because we're nice. And that sounds perfect on paper. But the operating system that is built into the female doesn't accept that because it shows weakness. Therefore, she's vulnerable for her survival. And that doesn't work long term. So here we go with words of affirmation. It's verbal compliments to express your love and appreciation. Now, if you're looking at my cure to when the poon dries up, that would be for every time she says she loves you, you tell her you love her 3 times more. That's part of, listen to Paul. Paul's going to die here.
That's the opposite of Royce's advice.
I know it's horrible. It's actually horrible advice. Brag to others about your spouse and write love letters. Now, there's something here. You will see this overdone in the White Knight. You should support your spouse in public and in private. You shouldn't detract from that. There is a huge amount of gossip that women engage in on the internet, talking shit about their men. Very dangerous, very, very dangerous, very blue pill type of activity. You just don't do it. And you know what? Even the best Chads, the guys that really dominate everywhere, you're going to find something really interesting about them. Even if their women treated them bad, they don't say a freaking word, man. They just move on. And a lot of these guys that are really up there, guess what? They say,
No. I talk to all women. All women are great. I enjoy their company. I do this, I do that. Those guys are the most successful. And guess what? They're not talking shit about their ex. They just don't. If you really pay attention to that, that's an interesting difference here. Speak words that build security, initiate sincere apology. This is being, I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry, babe. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I didn't have your feelings in order. Oh, I should have known better. If I really loved you, I would have known better. We've been together so long. I should have known that. I have heard this shit said.
This right here, that last
That
little
was
step is
at
like one of
first.
my hardest things to get over even today.
Tell me.
Saying sorry all the time, even like a little bump. Oops, sorry. Or disturbed, I'm sorry. Like I got to get over. Like that's one of the hardest things for me to get out of the conditioning from the blue pill.
Tell me more about that.
I was just like, every time I bump into like one of the chicks I'm dating, or if I do something that I might perceive they find offensive, whether it offends them or not, I'll instantly apologize. And it's something that I've been working to get over.
That's something I learned too in the book Atomic Attraction, was that I was apologizing too much. I apologize for everything, even stuff that's not your fault. And you go, oh, I'm so sorry. Like there's no reason to apologize for that, for one. And then constantly saying you're sorry for stuff really makes you look weak. It's just a perception thing. If you really do mess something up, you truly do wrong somebody, you should apologize for it. But again, words matter. Saying you're sorry is more weak than saying, hey, look, I apologize.
I think this, we identified one of the first fundamental blue pill love language was covert contracts, followed by this self-deprecating, apologetic, I'm apologizing for being a man. Essentially, this happens all of the time. And it's like, we're trained to do this. Watch anything. It's amazing that we do this. And I'll follow along with this. So I think that this apology situation, the way it's handled today for men, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this from a female dating coach in a minute. I'm going to show some of her advice, and this is exactly what it is. It's almost apologizing for being a man and being in a hurry to get the poon. I swear to God. And that's really bizarre to me, but following along on this is guys will apologize, and then they'll also talk themselves down. What do they call it? Self-deprecating. We had a guy comment on that on Rule 0. Remember? Oh, when I'm rejected, I just moonwalk away.
Mm-hmm.
So I even embarrass myself even further and then laugh at myself for it. So I'm a dancing clown, when I get rejected.
Well, unless your moonwalk is on point, because you can just moonwalk right into another girl and be like, hey.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you moonwalked in there, got rejected, then moonwalked to the next girl, that's perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
It's like kind of like the exact opposite of that is I'm actually rereading Rational Male 1 for the first time. I just got over the Corey Worthington part where it's like the Alpha Buddha guy's sitting there getting interviewed by the attractive news lady, and he's just not caring. He's being all nonchalant. Just
she wants him back in the longhouse, right?
Yeah. She's like, will you apologize? It's like, no.
Yeah. That actually, the other night on, I think it was Let 'Em Burn with Rob Says, they played the original clip from the Alpha Buddha.
Oh, that was a great episode, by the way. Under boob or side boob? That is
under boob for sure. Yeah.
Under boob.
I say
way more appealing
at the same time, but then again, I am a savage. I love it. Yeah. So what do you think about these words of affirmation? There's some usefulness here, but when applied to the blue pill, overall structure of blue pill love language, what happens here is that initiate a sincere apology, speak the words that build security, and initiate sincere apologies. Let's talk about security. Words that build security. Honey, I checked all of the locks. I went ahead and did a perimeter walk. I've got the Claymore set on a minimum trip for anything over 80 pounds, so we won't get any zips in the wire, so you're fully secure. Yeah. And if there's a knock, I'll grab the gun and go downstairs. Oh, wait a minute. This is equal, right?
Well, here's the problem with these love languages is that, one, your heart cannot be trusted. Your desires can't be trusted. There's desires that we have that are not good for us, right? So to say that you're going to sit here and trust your desires, this is how I desire. It's a very selfish thing. I need you to love me this way. in order for me to feel love. So it's selfish. So you're saying
Yeah, some solipsism going there for sure.
there's a lot of selfishness and solipsism here. Okay, so if I love you the way that you want me to love you, that means I have to learn to speak this love language that's not foreign to me. So I have to what? Learn a new language. Okay, are you going to take the time to learn my language? My language is, bitch, listen.
All right, yeah.
You know, but what I'm getting at is it's stupid. The crux of it, you know, from this blue pill world is all based on emotionalism, and you cannot trust your emotions, because we all know when people say they act emotionally to follow your heart. Well, there's a lot of times your heart will lead you to the wrong person. How many girls have followed their heart and got with the wrong guy who treated them like crap? So follow your heart, listen to your heart. That is a bunch of crap. The Bible tells you your heart is going to deceive you. So if your heart's deceiving you, your love languages must be deceptive and also selfish.
These books are very popular with women because it speaks to that emotion that you're talking about. Now, the next one I want to show you guys, check this out. Here we go. Acts of service. That sounds freaking wonderful, does it not? Acts of service is any act that eases the burden of responsibility. My question is, for who, Wraith? We'll get back to that. But wash dishes, pamper your spouse, offer, let me do it for you. Make behavior changes requested through the conflict. Now, I read the book. I have a real problem with this because everything in here, when they get to the wash dishes and all that, these were all initiated as covert contracts. Back to the fundamental blue pill love language. They were, even in exchange of behavior for what? For something. So these acts of service were, none of them that were exemplified in that book were anything other than an exchange of values. And many times they're exchange of value without an agreed upon value, which makes it a covert contract. If I do this, you do that. That wasn't even said. So let me get to Wraith and talk about, what do you take? Have you read, by the way, have you read this book, Wraith?
No.
Okay.
I don't read nonsense like this.
Okay, I might have to ask Paul then, but any act that eases the burden of responsibility. This right here to me is one of the most egregious, in the fact that as you read these examples, these acts of service are relieving her responsibility. So you guys want to talk on this one for a little bit, if you're familiar with this, because this one's pretty good, man. This one's one that's a big, rooted really deeply in the blue pill love languages.
Well, yeah,
and yet
because
this one is broadcast a lot.
It falls into the servant leader model really well, right? Serve your wife. Serve your wife. Acts of service. Do these things to serve your wife. If you love her, you would serve her. Well, one, let's be quite frank. From a religious standpoint, Jesus didn't ask his disciples how he could serve him. He did what he did, right? So who determines the service? Who determines what services you're going to provide? And then who determines if you're doing a good job at the services you provide? Every single answer that points to you deferring your authority and your leadership to someone else to arbitrate whether or not you are a good servant or you're providing good service, right? So this right here it speaks egalitarianism. It speaks, woman-led. I mean, there's nothing more.
I think it's worse than that, by relieving the burden of responsibility. I think what they were trying to say is, you don't have the responsibility of doing this work. Let me remove it from you.
Exactly.
That can be a nice thing to do and an honorable thing to do. But I think that it extends beyond that if you read the examples. I won't go into it.
The examples in the book were all, hey, dudes, take care of your women's stuff. And that leads to like the whole Excel spreadsheet of doing dishes versus blowies.
Yeah.
So I have another take on this
the
one.
brownie point
short
system.
play.
It goes into short play. Now, my interpretation of this one now, with like more of a red pill adjacent or red pill lens, is have that abundance that you could provide that without any reciprocation back towards you. That's the way you should live life. Like, Hey,
Yeah,
I'm moving ready if a girl ever wants to move in, but I don't expect her to do anything because I provided this. I built this on my own.
Now,
With
see,
or without her, I have the place.
there's a little difference here. Like, if a problem with nice guys that this is another thing that popped up in the book this go around, is that we tend to act like, well, we don't need this. We don't, I do my own dishes. I do my, I don't need my girl to do that stuff for me. But the thing is, women get more invested in guys the more they do stuff for guys. It doesn't work the other way around. You do more stuff for your girl, that it's nice in the moment, but they don't care. You know what I mean? But when a girl invests in you, she's like that's an emotional investment. So a lot of times guys need to just let their girl do nice things for them.
Rollo, we could use you on here. Do you want to jump on? Money can be exchanged for goods and services. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you there, Paul.
Do you want to jump on?
And also Rollo.
But and then another thing too, that when it comes to not doing covert contracts, like you could still do nice things for your girl, but you've got to give without expecting to get. That's a different thing. It's like I'm going to go walk the dog because I like walking the dog, not because I'm doing something nice for her necessarily.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting at with the abundance mindset. Like have that mindset where it's like, hey, I can do this and I don't care what I get in return.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that then.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely a difference between doing the dishes because they need to be done and doing the dishes because you're expecting a blowy for being a good boy. It's totally a difference there.
Yeah, exactly. Let me drop this in the chat if he wants to come.
You got to figure that these love languages things only works one way. It only works one way. It only works in the way you as a man serve her. You as a man speak to her. Like, go down the list. All these things are for benefit of her.
Yeah, that was a thing that when I did an interview with Paul Benjamin on this stuff, and one of the things he was saying is like, if you ask 99.9% of men what their top 2 love languages are, it's going to be physical touch and words of affirmation, because those are the 2 things that we don't normally just get. Where you ask a woman, hey, what are your love languages? Usually it's going to be shit like quality time and acts of service. I
want to get to that quality time last because I want it to lead into something. Let's get to the next one. It is let's do it. It's a gift. I'm going to get into gift giving at this point. Now,
if a girl's love language is receiving gifts, drop her, bro. She's a
she's a gold digger.
This is pretty blue pill, though. I mean, tangible symbols that reflect your thoughtfulness and effort. Tangible. Now, everything tangible that means so much to sustain a relationship beyond 3 decades, I can tell you, I can count on one hand. It's tangible as a gift. It's something else. But make birthdays, anniversaries special. Surprise them with their favorite treat. Give them a small token of your love and an apology note. We're back on that one again. Are you kidding me? Why would that be there? I know he hits this again in the book as well. It's pretty strange, but I like what Paul just said. If this is a big part of what she needs to connect, this is a covert contract on her side. Boy, if I don't get the bag, you're not the guy for me. He don't make 6 figures. Hell, I need $500,000 a year. Interesting. And then, of course, we got physical touch. Now, I actually think that this transcends, and you can learn from this. Physical touch is a non-sexual touch. Now, why would they say non-sexual touch that reinforces your presence? If it is your wife, it is your girlfriend, here's the thing. There's always sexual tension between you. And if you leave it off the table, it's a problem. I've spoken on this before. I'm still doing some research, but it looks to me like one of the biggest problems with long-term relationships right now and marriages is that sex declines. This is like expected. It is advertised as what you should do. It's the right thing to do. Everybody laughs about it, and people are conditioned that sex declines after this. It is exactly the 180-degree opposite situation. Your sexual activity with your wife should increase over time, regardless of whether she's having babies, regardless of whether you have time or not. It should increase throughout your lifetime if you're expecting to have a successful long-term relationship. Mother Nature is incredible. It will betray you. That's why science is always shocked when they look at Mother Nature and they find Mother Nature fucking the mailman. It is just how it is.
Yeah, that's why, in my book on maintaining long-term relationships, like there's a big emphasis in always seducing your girl. You gotta keep doing it. You can't be complacent with it.
Yeah.
You gotta, when you walk behind her, you gotta slap her on the ass because it's disrespectful not to.
I mean, that's like
Well,
why Ryan say long-term relationships is game on hard mode.
Yeah.
But physical touch does a couple different things. Okay. It does impose intimacy, but it also supports security.
It does.
Yeah. And if you're not supporting that security, then she starts wondering, is this the guy that's going to protect me? Is this? And that's why physicality is important. It's important for men to express physicality, in a positive way, I guess is the best way to put it.
Now,
Because
I
it
would
does
say
mean-
that's very red pill to express it in that physical way. When you say something like that, whether it's blue pill, it's just human nature. Guys, you should be strong enough to pick your woman up and carry her into the bedroom and have sex with her. Believe it or not, being able to pick your woman up does something to her psychology around that ability to provide security and provisioning. Just the fact that you can treat her like that, like a little girl in those circumstances, is huge. You'll get a bunch of the blue pills disagreeing. It's like, it doesn't matter. We're equal. I'm just as strong. No. When you can do that, it is different. I mean, I will pick a woman up and shoulder press her. So has Mr. Producer in my presence. The look on their face and the levels of respect is stunning, and it is palpable right there, and it lasts. So that part of it, I'm not saying to be violent. I'm saying be able to express your dominant masculine presence. There is a big physical part of that. One of the skills that I talk about in the book is physicality. Now, when I say physicality, it can be something minor. You may be physically disabled, but you can still show that kind of dominance, even if you can only lift one finger. You'll make up for it in other areas, but when you express it, she'll see it in the same fashion. I can only move this one finger, but it's one badass trigger finger. Watch, there's a way.
Thor, I think when it comes down to it, I think you're right though. If you can't shoulder press your chick, like
just pick her up. Just pick her up.
You can't even pick her up, bro. Like, are you even a man?
Well, there's an issue because Glenn here. So I got I got one of your exes right here, over here on the side with the cute mini dress. Beautiful dress. She's not happy with your ability to shoulder press her. Actually.
But I can see the thing.
That might be my ex-wife.
She's about 285, and everybody knows that I can shoulder press 315. So it's a little of a struggle, but I can get her up there.
Yeah, but you have to divide and times. You have to actually square or cube a sack of potatoes weight wise. So
yeah,
when you cube it, because of the 3D motion and all that stuff, sack of potatoes don't lift the same as regular weight.
No, it's true. You got to kind of like balance it out properly. But
I could see you choking when the mammary hits you in the face when you're trying to.
Sometimes
then you don't have oxygen and you can't finish the press.
Yeah, here's the funny thing though. When we talk about this again, I want to acknowledge like the fact that there's some good things in here. I'm not going to say like all this is trash, right? Because there's good ways to be loving to your spouse.
Yeah.
But this entire dialogue is entirely based off of what you need to do for her, and that constantly puts you in this servitude of her. Nowhere does it say what she ought to do. So if she's a stay-at-home mom and you like gifts, right? You're basically, when she goes buys you a gift, you bought yourself the gift. It didn't cost her anything. It was no, sacrifice for her. All this stuff requires is men to sacrifice for women when it's not being reciprocated. And what you're hoping to get reciprocation is sex. Well, if you're gonna if we're gonna make it transactional, then get a whore.
Well, I get that, and that's a big part, guys. That's a big part of the blue pill language. The blue pill love language ignores from the red pill, and that's the fact that all relationships are a value exchange, and that's why even parts of this, the 5 love languages are actually important to know, and we're going to get to one right now. It's actually really important to know, and here it is. So take a look. Quality time, guys. Quality time is focused, undivided attention spent together. There is nothing here. This is a value exchange that actually is important. And you need to plan for it, because just sitting there playing the Xbox while she's sitting next to you on her phone doing Instagram, that really isn't it. And of course, they speak about that in the book. Turn off your electronics, go for a walk, make eye contact, active listening. You got to have, when you say empathy, try to see it from her shoes. That's actually the experience. So probably maybe sympathy a little more. Don't interrupt. I want to speak to this and get your guys' thoughts on it. We all listen today. And if anybody has been on social media or even gone to school, we are taught to listen with the intent to react. This is emotionalism 101. Listen next time you have a conversation or you're listening to a conversation with somebody. They're listening to about half. I got that book by Leland Howe on how to talk to anybody. About half of what you hear, you're hearing, and then you're planning a reaction to that half. Paul, you've heard some of that before, and on the communication front. So I like the part of the book where it talks about don't interrupt. That's kind of, it's been a challenge for me, because my wife sometimes speaks slow with her new injury. And I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm going to answer this before she's even finished. And I've done this a few times, guys. And what I'm answering for her is not what she's freaking asking. It's completely something different. And so I have to caution you with those sorts of things. Quality time is kind of an important deal, but being able to listen and not interrupt is even bigger. Paul, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that is something that is extremely hard for every man, is realizing that when your girl comes to you with your problems, she doesn't want you to solve the problem. She just wants to vent. She wants you to be a sounding board. She just wants you to listen.
Yeah.
But we're, like you say all the time, Thor, our primary agency is problem solving. So as soon as a girl brings us a problem, we're like, oh, well, there's a clear solution to that. All you need to do is, and that's not what she wants. It's not about the nail, right? So that's the hardest thing for guys. And I find myself, whenever nurse chick brings me shit, which is rare because she's very quiet, but if she ever brings me stuff, my initial instinct is to tell her, oh, well, this is how you solve that problem. And I'll catch myself and I'll stop and I'll either say, oh, you know what? That was unsolicited advice. I go, and then I'll say, take it or leave it. And then, or I'll say, you know what? Do you want my advice or do you just want me to listen? And I just need to get that clarified. The thing is, she reads all the same books that I do, so she knows exactly what I'm doing in that moment, and she just chuckles,
Yeah. I found myself doing the same after I heard the phrase, listen to understand instead of react.
Mm-hmm.
So I found, like, I'll ask a lot of people a lot of times now, men or women, it's like, do you want me to just listen and let you vent, or do you want my advice?
Well, I always tell them, like, hey, do you want me to fix this or do you want me to feel this?
That's a good one.
That's a good way of saying it.
That's actually pretty good.
Because fixing it, that means I have to problem solve. Feeling it means you just want me to suffer with you, and misery loves company, and you're being selfish. Okay, so and then, well, I'm joking when I say that jokingly, but when you come to the problem, like, hey, do you want me to fix this or feel this? You're putting the ball in their court to tell you what kind of response that they want from you. And now you know how to engage into this conversation, right? Because guys, we're problem solvers. So just like the nail in the head story, right? Oh, we just want to pull the damn nail out of her head and take her problems away. But that's
she just wants you to be simple.
She just wants you to feel it. She just wants you to feel it with her. She wants you to just have empathy.
I would expect having spoken with Wraith at length, that Wraith does make a strong effort to listen, because I've spoken with him. And I'd like to hear his comments on that quality time. How valuable was that to you? Because I think that's probably the real value when I read this book, is that right there. Because, you know, we men get busy, or we assume those covert contracts, and this is not a part of it.
I think, you know, for me, it's, we do, you know, in my relationship, we do spend quality time together. And sometimes it is listening to things that you don't want to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to understand why she's feeling that way or saying what she's saying. But, you know, and I'm kind of like Glenn, and to me, when she comes and she talks to me, you know, about something that's going on, and it's not usually about our relationships, about one of her friends' relationships or something like that. Are we going to evaluate drama, or do we want to separate ourselves from this?
Right.
You know, but like I said, I think, you know, when Glenn talks about servant leader, I don't believe in servant leader. I believe in stewardship. You know, I'm there to care for this relationship. That is a part of my responsibility as being in the relationship.
That's leadership. Absolutely. I go into that in detail in my book, and I kind of associate that with what's called the transformational leader.
You know, so, but like I said, you do have to set time aside to just be together. And
yeah, I think that's a real value in the 5 love language. To me, that was probably one of them that, yeah, I can see that value. And here's the thing. I will say this as a caution about it, you can overdo it. You guys have all heard that absence makes the heart grow fonder. You can absolutely overdo that. A lot of blue pill, covert contract wielding white knights will absolutely do that. In fact, we're going to get into the white knights next, but I want to comment on my favorite Bars Fitness gal. That's Elena. She posted as a member. Remember, guys, super chats are welcome. The memberships to all our channels are available here. Each of us gives you guys some extra content, free content, and even on Glenn's and my channel, you can get like 6 hours of amazing adult-oriented content. Now, it's not pictures, but it's us chopping it up on the Trident, which we are going to bring back again at some future point with a special third component. It might be just Paul. We never know. We'll get Paul in there doing the Trident. We'll get him thinking about some pretty rough stuff there, since he rides too. But yeah, give us a super chat, subscribe to every channel. We really appreciate that. Elena says women want to feel important with their problems. They love things to worry about. Otherwise, life is too easy. I will absolutely agree with that. Women need to have that working in their mind and their emotions at all times to work through. It makes them feel like they have purpose. I really like that. Purpose is something you create for them, believe it or not. If you want a long-term relationship, you have to be active in that. So guys, with that, you know, how do I do that? How do I actually do something like that and create that for my woman? Well, interestingly enough, we're going to hear from our sponsor, and you're going to know exactly how to do that. So here you go, guys.
Masculinity is in crisis. What are we to do? We need to acquire a dominant masculine presence. Now available on Amazon. Masculinity is in crisis. Men's masculine behaviors and traits have been suppressed by popular culture. Why has it become so popular to shame, guilt, insult, masculinity, and masculine behaviors? After 50 to 70 years of this has resulted in a very large subset of men who have become weak, useless, and crisis. Pathetic state for boys and men that leads to depression and violent despair. A dominant masculine presence addresses this very dilemma for the individual man, and it firmly establishes why this is what is desperately needed by the individual man today. In this book, clearly defined masculine traits and behaviors and the emotional durability provided by traditional masculinity are presented as a guide to what every man should embed into his identity. Putting these principles and behaviors into practice will motivate and direct your path step to step to create for yourself an authentic, dominant masculine presence.
All right, that's fantastic. That's how you might do that. And, you know, that brings us to the next one. So I can create this.
Hey, before we move on to that, I want to say something about those moments. Those moments create intimacy for men. And, You know, I've been through something. Excuse me.
What moments are we talking about, Ray?
Those moments where you create that, you know, time together.
Yes.
Okay, that creates intimacy for men. And I will tell you, having been through something that Thor's been going through right now, if you don't have that in your relationship, you will never make it through those times.
Thank you, Ray. That's important. Sorry, I missed out on that before I launched that. So we're going to move into the final one I had written down here that's super popular that I believe is a fundamental to the love language of the blue pill. We've kind of passed the 5 love languages on in a very brief but organized fashion. But now the final one that I had down there is ye shall white knight. Since I was a little boy, and it fits our instincts quite well as mammals, ye shall protect the women and children first. You know, you will do this at the sacrifice of your own existence. And this has been pushed. This is a big fundamental that men are taught. I'd like to take a quick look and of course I'll get demonetized, but I want to take a quick look of what a white knight actually kind of looks like. And you can find the history out yourself, but please enjoy this right here. We're going to take a look at Steve Harvey's been a huge white knight. We'll take a look.
One thing I'll say, Thor, before you do this, because you're going to get demonetized, guys. This is why you need to tune into the lives so that you can watch these things. Because if we get demonetized, we have to edit it out, and then you watch the replay, and something's missing. It's because you should have tuned in live.
Thank you, Paul. That's absolutely great. I want to look at this, and then I want to take a look at the ramifications of this kind of thinking and behavior as he gives advice to a single mother on raising a child. You're going to see something that, other than this context and the fact that he can produce this kind of clout, he would be viewed as a criminal. So this is an interesting view. If you don't see it because I got demonetized, I'm sorry for you. We'll just get on to the next subject. In that case, if you're watching in the replay. So here we go.
Put her name on the back, man. You understand me? That's mine right there. Yeah, I own you and you own me. I will kill everybody in here about your ass. Please understand that about the way I love you, Marjorie Elaine. You understand me? I kill everybody in here. I swear to God I will. You can ask the Lord about me. I'll kill every...
This is one thing I see.
My life.
This is one thing I see a lot on Facebook, and it's kind of sad. And I'm guilty of it myself in the past, but guys will often post pictures of their girl and like in praise of their girl and like, look how great my girl is and all this stuff. And she's not doing the same thing in return on her Facebook. You know what I mean? They're just putting their girl out there on this giant pedestal. And when you put a girl up on a pedestal, she has no choice but to look down on you, which kills attraction. It's not using hypergamy to your advantage. And
this is the worst kind of white knighting that there is. You will see this. And guys, I encourage you to go look at his stuff, even look at his book. It is all about white knighting. The whole thing is a manual on this.
Then you got the same behavior.
It's a covert contract. You're up there on stage saying, hey, I kill everybody in this room for you, girl. Look how much I love you, because you're expecting something in return. It's a complete nice guy behavior.
And look where it led to. You also get the slap heard around the world with Chris Rock and Will Smith because of like advice that Steve Harvey gives or the stuff that Steve Harvey praises.
Where did that end up for him?
Well, Will Smith gay, apparently.
I got another one to show you, Thor, if you don't mind.
She knows that he won't kill anybody. So if he's not telling the truth, how does that actually elevate him in her eyes? He's false. He's not going to do that. He just says it. So that weakens him completely. I'll tell you this, it's much more powerful when she can feel like, that's right, I said it. If she feels like my man is viciously dangerous and he could kill people, I need to actually keep him from, I have to restrain that. And if you have a woman that does this for you, and this is rare, you know what it demonstrates? That she knows that her man is a dominant masculine presence. And that is a huge difference. She is advertising the world, look what I conquered. Look at the beast that I conquered.
Well, it all goes back to demonstrate, not explicate, right? Show that you're a dangerous guy, but don't sit there and tell, oh, hey, let me tell you how dangerous I am. It's not the same.
Is Steve Harvey's pool boy still alive?
I don't know. Glenn, what do you have? Is there music in it? Are we going to get another hit?
No music. No music. It's just this.
Is it related to this directly? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because we heard Steve Harvey's version of it, of white knighting. This is the version that is being taught in the church. This is
a blue pill fundamental language. So go ahead and drop it in there, and I'll bring it right up.
All right. It is. No, it's this one. Right? Yeah.
Is it letting you put it in? Should.
1 second. I got to click on it. It's a short.
All right. No worries. Let's go ahead to the super chat. Look who we got here. Man, oh man, oh man. Which one do you want to hear there, Danny? How about let's hear Elena? How about you want to hear Elena? She's a sweetie.
Shame this horse.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Danny, you're all over the 7.62 millimeter.
Love it.
In US dollars. Have you ever seen lions being sweet with their cubs? Beautiful. Be that. Be kind, be gentle, but remain a beast. My next video is going to address this completely, and it's related to Steve Harvey. I wanted to play it back to back to demonstrate where it goes, and then we'll get to your video, Glenn, okay? Because it's short. But I want you to understand this guy's giving advice on parenting, but he is so rooted in the blue pill. I have issues with this. Okay? So let's get there right now. Let me get back here. Be patient, guys. This is going to be fun. It'll probably get wackadoodled, but that's okay. So let's just get back just a touch. This one is 3 minutes exactly. So here we go. Let's add it up. Remember what we're seeing here, guys. Let's listen carefully.
I think I've seen this.
Yeah.
This is Ask Steve, I'll kill you. It's another one of those I'll kill you.
She's kind of a neat freak, and I'm the messy one.
Wait.
I brought some pictures.
And she's talking about her daughter. She is a single mother, by the way. And she's asking him to pseudo father this.
I'm the single parent of a 7-year-old daughter.
Single moms, am I right?
Yep.
Kind of
7-year-old daughter.
And I brought some pictures.
Okay.
She's messy.
That's your daughter's room.
Constantly yelling at me like she's the parent.
Who is the mother?
The daughter's
Holy
whose frame is operating? Whose frame?
Holy crap! There is no dominant masculine presence anywhere near this. Now watch his response. This is how he's going to tell her to handle it. She's yelling at her mother at 7 years old to be the effing adult. I'm the child. You're the adult. That's primarily what's going on here, and this is probably repeated numerous.
Wow.
Okay, that's white knighting right there. And then how much responsibility did he take for being a man right there? 0.
Yeah, it's all in the mom.
Their problem. Where's her dad?
Yeah, like why isn't the dad in the picture?
You can't use that phrase, wait until your dad gets home or your father gets home.
Yeah, like if you're having that much problem with your kid, it's because you can't parent. You're not an authority figure. It's not even your position to play. Women are forced, single parents are forced to play, single moms are forced to play the dad role and be this authority
they don't
figure.
do it. They can't do it.
But they fail at doing it. They can't do it. They look like a transgender when they try to do it.
Look at them all laughing. You see all the girls laughing? And then he brings up actual violence and I will kill you. Wait a minute. I brought you into this world. I'll take you out. That's murder. That's premeditated murder.
But women go along with Glenn on that. The authority side of it is sorry.
What happens when that language is used with no authority or backing to it? This guy's giving that advice. And this is why when he white knighted and said he'd kill everybody in that room, he actually destroyed his own relationship.
Yeah,
But
if
here's the
you
problem.
can't,
We don't have a problem with women killing. That's why it's okay for him to say that.
but still,
Society-wise, we don't have a problem with that. So we look at any type of like murder situation. If it's a guy, we want to put him, lock him up, put him in an electric chair, fry his ass. Women get away with abortion. Women get away with killing their kids, and they get lesser sentences. We don't have a problem as a society with women killing. So he is safe to say that.
Okay, but set that he's not safe to say that. This is incredible because I mean, killing is killing, murder is murder. None of these things change the outcome, whether you're a male or you're a female. The thought process that he would go through to make this a comedic joke and then to say something like that in order to advise a single mother how to handle a child that actually is the responsible, accountable party in this entire situation, and then wonder about the outcome for this 7-year-old girl.
Well, it's like
And the
watching
mother
that,
is actually laughing about this.
like that 7-year-old girl's never gonna have respect for her mother because her mother doesn't show
right.
any authority whatsoever. Especially like the dirty room is the greatest example of that. It's like why should I listen to you because you can't even clean your room?
That dirty room expresses her emotionality, the thoughts in her head, and the fact that she's probably absolutely looking for the whatever makes me feel good next. Whatever emotion makes me feel good, that's what I'm jumping at. That's why there's a 7-year-old child sitting there with no father. And if the father had been died and she was a widow, guess what? When she would have asked the question, she would have said, it's been like this since her father had passed away. He ain't passed away. That would have been a big component of that. And that's not there. I found that one incredibly weighty. And even if we get demonetized about it, his advice is insane. And if this is what's coming out of the blue pill, it's self-destructive. This is why we'll have a population decline. That's why we have a generational problem. Isn't going to fix, It's interesting. I do know women of my age and younger that are foreign born in different countries, and I've run some of these scenarios past them. Their desire since they were little girls to be wives and mothers with a father present, and it's still that to this day present like that with their children. Here in the West, I hate to be a downer, that doesn't exist. We have beaten out of our small girls. You don't be a wife and a mother. You can be anything but that. Anything but that. And guess what? Here is the first generation that has gone through that, my friends, that is now being advised by this man who the media has lofted to the godlike abilities to give advice to these women that is supposed to cure their problem in a 30-second soundbite. How irresponsible is that? To me, that just sits funny in my chicken gizzard. It doesn't quite pass the craw. Anyway, that's just me. You guys want to comment on these before we get to Glenn's video on white knighting? White knighting is insidious, and that is a big fundamental in blue pill love language.
Oh yeah, I mean, what I was trying to get at by saying that like he's advocating for women violence in a sense is because society-wise we don't hold them accountable for their violence.
That's true.
Domestic violence in relationships, 2 out of 3 times it's gonna be done by the woman. All right, and when it comes to repetitive domestic violence, it's always the women instigating it. These are statistics. These are what we can prove, but they don't face the same level of consequence, that men have to. So he could joke around and say this, like, I brought you into this world, I could take you out. Why? Because women don't value children's lives like they should, because they think that they own the life. We look at it even with the abortion. Women think, I can take the life.
Some of that's been beaten out of the last 3 generations because prior to that, they were raised to want to be mothers.
Yes.
I wanted to be a wife because it was a position of honor. Now it is a position of dishonor. And one of the things is, let's carry the scenario out. She listens to him. Now she comes home and she knocks that little girl across the room into next week, and she loses 3 of her baby teeth at that point. Let's think about the outcome of this right here. She did what the guy told her to do in response to her being a responsible adult and saying, Mom, you know what the rule is? Pick up your stuff. Bam. Knocked into next week. Do you think Steve Harvey even fucking thought? So hit the curse jar. Did you even think about the consequence or even what that little girl was doing, being the parent? He identified, oh, she's parenting you. Oh, but it's okay because of disrespect, her asking you to follow the rules like a good mother should. I'm going to knock you into next week. Wow. If you carried that all the way out to the end, can you imagine?
Well, think about it. If let's say that happened, and let's go to the extreme, the mom beats the child to the point of deletion, right? I took Steve Harvey's advice. He told me to remind her that I brought you into this world and I took her out. So I took her out. Steve Harvey, I took your advice.
She told me to be an accountable adult woman.
Yeah. And it's like, so then society would be like, well, Steve Harvey, you're giving bad advice. And now this woman has done this thing to their child. So we're going to hold you accountable for giving this advice, not her. And it all goes back to no accountability.
But also, a big problem with this too, and I think Thor was talking about this earlier, was that it's an empty threat, because if the mom had the gumption to act like that in the first place, the daughter wouldn't be disrespectful. So now all of a sudden she's expected to knock her girl into next week. If she's never done that up to this point, she's not going to do it now. And so she's just saying, hey, I'm going to knock you into next week. And her daughter's like, oh yeah, do it. Then what? Then what?
Then you got to follow through with it. Then
you have to follow through. She's going to lose even more respect and go, no, that's what I thought, Mom. Shut the hell up and clean your room. That's what's going to happen.
I think she's losing respect for her mother because they have established this rule of neatness, and
they did, yeah, or it wouldn't have come up.
And the mother's not holding herself accountable, so the child's sitting there feeling, well, why am I accountable?
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, I think as a parent, we have a responsibility to set a standard, abide by the standard ourselves, and then you can enforce the standard.
Yeah.
But like I said, it goes into there's just no accountability. This woman has no self-accountability.
How about self-respect? The daughter is following the rules and is proud of it. And she's watching her mom day after day. They had pictures. And what did the mom complain about? No, not following the rules that she probably set forth, but because her daughter is harassing her. Oh,
and I want to go to those statements that Steve Harvey was making.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tread lightly here. I got to figure out how to phrase this so it doesn't.
It's okay. I already messed it up.
She is sitting there, and what Glenn was saying, women are held accountable, but they're given autonomy over their body. And women saying that to their children is an extension of that.
Mm.
Okay. It's my body that gave you life, therefore I can take your life.
Exactly.
And men don't think in those terms when it comes to their kids.
No, do you see how deep that actually goes? That is the feminist ideal. And this is where it really pushes into the fact that they can proactively take their child's life at any age from conception. In fact, there are those on the feminist Marxist side that take it right into the first few years of life. Where does it stop?
Well, there was that mother recently that killed her two sons.
Oh yeah,
because she said that she didn't want to raise misogynists.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
She drowned her two sons because she said that she didn't want to raise future misogynists. And it's like, so this mindset that they have this autonomy, they have this authority over their children's life, even in the womb and out the womb. And then we joke about it like, oh yeah, I brought you into this world to take you. You don't have that right. But we tell women they have that right. So then when women act on that, then then we're mad at them for acting on it, what people have told them they could do. They're like, well, it's a really messed up situation. And that's the nice guy thing, right? That's the nice guy. You're telling them this lie because it makes them feel good, but when they act on it to the extreme, now they're in trouble and they're mad at you because you told them this lie. Well, you're just being a nice guy.
You imagine if she did that, and then they brought in the clip in her trial of Steve Harvey saying, "I'll kill you."
That's exactly what I was getting at.
Hold on. What would his response be on the stand? Paul, what would his response be?
Wait, what's the situation again?
Okay, let's imagine Steve Harvey gives the woman advice, remember, on the child that was acting like the parent, and he actually said, like my mother, I would tell you, I'll kill you.
And then she actually
now we're in the
that.
trial, and they bring this video in there saying this is premeditated. You are going to go to the electric chair for this. And they put him on that stand, and they say, why would you give this advice? What would his answer be?
He'd be like, "Oh, I was just joking.
I was just joking. No harm in foul here.
Just entertainment, you know."
And then slap her with a libel lawsuit or some shit like that on top of it.
Slap who with a libel?
If they brought his video into court, he'd probably slap her with a libel lawsuit.
For giving him a bad name, like in retaliation.
Exactly.
That would backfire on him severely. I doubt that. It would just be, it's a joke. We all joke. I'm a comedian. She should know that. Look,
I'm an entertainer.
Did she know that laying out her rule for her child and her child is parenting her back this is somebody that's shy a few bricks here. And this is laughed at and it's lauded. The women laughing in there is like, yeah, girl, this is how you do it as a single mother. Now, I've slammed a lot of the girls in here, but really the blue pill white knight is the result. She is the result of these languages of blue pill love, because it always removes full accountability from the woman. That is it. You can do no wrong. You shall be pedestalized. I will worship the ground you walk on. I will pick the peanuts out of your poo just to see where that poo came from, because I am a blue pill white knight, and I will kill all you MFers if you even try to touch those peanuts in her poo. So
I wouldn't go that far, but
they do. They do. Look at the language. Look at how it's propagated. One-itis is the foundational soulmate myth, that it's you and none other forever and ever. And this is how it's done. And this actually markets really well. It markets really well to a woman, and the guys that have no success with women, it markets to them too. You're promised your soulmate at some point. Hey, this works. When you promise poon to a guy, it works. If you promise 72, I'll put on an explosive vest, because I'm looking for that orgy in the sky. Trust me.
So can I show the other video? Because we're seeing
let's do it.
One side of white knighting, but here is an exact opposite, another side of white knighting.
All right. Let me stop sharing my screen so you can do it. Okay, where are you at there? Okay, Mr. Producer. There you go. Oh.
Yes. Your wife is your peer. She is your equal. God told Adam, it's not good to be alone. You need help. She's going to help you. The two of you need to be one. So it's plural leadership. That's why the Bible says that children should honor and obey their mother and their father. Why? Because they're both leaders. So mom and dad are the leaders of the family. The father, the husband, he is the head of the family. This doesn't mean that he's the bully. This doesn't mean that he's domineering, overbearing. It doesn't mean that he gets to boss everybody around. It doesn't mean that he gets to be a control freak. What it means is he's supposed to treat his family the way Jesus treats his church. He's supposed to lead with love, humility, sacrifice, considering the well-being of others. And it should be that when your kids look at their father and your wife looks at her husband, they say, I see a reflection of Jesus in that guy.
Glenn, that's a great one. That's a white knight in the church.
How can you be the head of the household if everything is
gleaming with his gleaming glance through the heart of all real men? Come on.
It's that type of teaching, right? That is fundamentally flawed, right? Even scripturally, this guy, he has hundreds of thousands of people that follow him, but scripturally, it's flawed. It doesn't hold its water when you actually look at it, the scripture. So, and then we were talking about hermeneutics earlier. Bad interpretation. Bad interpretation.
I don't think there's any interpretation there at all. That's making shit up.
Exactly.
Like I've noticed a trend, whether it's religious or not, but like people who give like the blue pill advice, the one word, and I'm starting to really dislike this word that they all use is humility, or to like be humble and all that stuff. It's like, why not use the word modesty? Modesty is way better to describe what the behavior that you're trying to get across.
Yep. Humility is used as a weapon by the blue pill. That's 100% true. Modesty can be quite honorable and masculine because it invites discovery. Being humble. You need to be humble, Glenn. No way. You're proud of your accomplishments. You're a dominant masculine male. It should be obvious to all without you having to announce it.
But like those two words, like if you go back to like their original definition and everyone uses them, like it makes me think of the original definition. It's like, no, I don't want to lower my standard. I don't want to lower myself. I'll be modest, but not humble or have humility.
It's hard to be humble when you're 200 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. You know what I mean?
155, but close enough.
You know, but what baffles me here is that, like, what his name's Mark Driscoll. What Mark Driscoll did is heresy in this sense, because he literally took passages, twisted them, flipped them to make it sound white knightish, and it literally you putting all the authority in the woman's hand. You deferring all the authority. She's your equal partner. No, she's not your equal partner. The Bible's really clear that she's not your equal. She's equal in value, but not equal in function. That means she doesn't have equal in authority. It's stupid.
Yeah, and I want to say something about humility. What they're talking about humility in the Bible is doing something without seeking recognition. That's humility in the Bible.
Yeah, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing.
Right. And if someone recognizes you, being able to accept that respect. That's what humility in the Bible is about.
Okay, I can get down with that. That's a good definition in my eyes.
Yeah,
it's not about lowering yourself to be under someone. It's
that's
about
false humility.
Right. That's false humility. It's about doing something without expecting recognition.
Yeah.
All men should be humble. All men should go out and live their life in search of their authentic self, care for and steward for their families, but they shouldn't seek recognition for that. The recognition is going to be there if you're doing it. If you live with that confidence, that recognition is going to be there.
It's kind of related to just having integrity.
But see, what Mark Driscoll did there is that he sprinkled a little bit of truth with a whole lot of lies, and he sold it at it's true, because some of that stuff is good. Yeah, you need to care about your family's well-being. You need to put your family's well-being, in the forefront of your mind, so you're taking care of them. You need to take care of your wife, absolutely, right? But she's not your equal. It just this whole talk about being a humble man is putting them before you. No, it's not putting them before you. A humble man is seeing that their needs are just as important as your needs. And in order for this unit to work as a family, if you're in that position, you got to make sure that needs are met. Not wants, not desires, not those needs. Needs have to be met.
Which, Glenn, you got to go back to having a mental point of origin to do that properly.
Exactly.
And if you brought up modesty, understand that modesty, God never asked a man to be modest.
Exactly.
He asked women to be modest. And the reason he asked women to be modest was to protect the reputation of the man.
Hey guys, check your chats real quick. One of you guys has a fake Rollo in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know which one, so I don't want to.
I think that's on Glenn's channel.
I only got one watcher right now. That's probably myself.
Okay, yeah. The comment's not bad, but it's not what Rollo would say.
Let me see here. Is it on my channel?
No.
No, mine.
Is Billy in the building?
I think Billy's in the building, guys. Billy, Skull brother, it's okay, man. You don't have to be Rolo. Be Billy. Be
Billy.
Be
He's in
Billy.
mine. Can
Be
you
Billy,
just
man.
be Billy, bro?
Yeah. Guys, I want to do a wrap. This has been actually a really good episode so far. I want to do some shout outs. Guys, remember, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We're broadcasting at our pirate depth, right there across all the streams. You've got RP Thor, you've got Glenn Lawrence, who's Mr. Producer. We are broadcasting to Wraith Dean Tour. We are also broadcasting to Come On Man podcast, Paul. Come On Man podcast. I mean, he is really kicking it up with all his action, his new book, his views are up, his podcast is doing great. He's got fantastic, wonderful guests. It's pretty soon he needs to get a God Amongst Men on, but we'll get there and we'll talk about it as soon as his book releases. I'll have him on RP Thor too. We're going to do something like a Thunder for that. But subscribe to us. Send us a super chat, man. This is how we keep this going. It's how we research and do our stuff here. Remember, this is all tongue-in-cheek stuff. We have a lot of fun with it. YouTube, this is for fun. So it's edutainment, and we appreciate that. So we're going to have to close up here, and I want to just do a quick round table. I'm going to put you in the spotlight, guys. Tell me what you think about the blue pill love languages, including the 5, if you want to go down the 5. And what's your final thoughts for those that really believe in the blue pill love languages? Is there any way out, and what would be your recommendation? Starting with the Mr. Producer.
Hey guys, so I really advocate for the blue pill love languages. I think that every man needs to do them. I mean, it's a great way to ruin your relationship. And, like what better way to have a failed relationship than follow the blue pill? So I encourage you to exercise and practice all the love languages, and then whatever love languages she makes up along the way, those come from God. So definitely uphold to them and do so you could end up divorced, because obviously that's exactly what the blue pill love languages want you to do, that or they want you to be a slave. So if you're not a slave to your woman, and then you're not a good man. So yeah, do that.
Fantastic. We love it. Wraith, man, what you up to? What you got on the schedule? What are your final thoughts on this blue pill love language situation that we created so that we could have something fun to talk about today? And if you have any thoughts about the white knighting stuff and the outcomes, please share it with us now.
I like I said, I've never read the love language book. I don't believe in that stuff. I believe that, as a man, we're called to be, first men, then stewards, and that steward of life, everything you come in contact with, you should try to practice making the world a better place through your actions, through your behavior, and that's the best way to do that, is to be a man. That's what you were born as, and that's what you were raised to be. As far as what's going on with the white knighting, I feel for young men these days, because we've made that the way of romance. That's the new romance standard today. Yeah. And as Glenn was being facetious about, it's not going to offer you a long-term relationship. There's more to a long-term relationship than your girlfriend or your wife being right all the time, and putting yourself in a position where you're submitting to her needs and not thinking of your own. So I do believe you have to make yourself your own mental point of origin, and that you should find someone that supports you in that. Now, I am going to do something. If you have been in this show today live, you can contact me on Wraith Dean Tour on Telegram or Instagram or Facebook, and I'm going to give 3 people an hour free.
Wow, you want to put that in the text
Awesome.
while we're closing out today? You can throw it into the
Yeah.
universe text.
Yeah.
If you put it in the private,
You have to be a
chat,
show today.
if you put it in the private chat, what you want me to do, I'll copy it and I'll throw it into everybody's channel.
Okay, I'll do that.
Wraith, as always, man, all you guys are fantastic, Drakkar. So, who did I miss so far? Paul, you're the last one up.
Yeah.
Paul, throw in your link to your stuff, man. Throw in that link to that book.
I will. So what I'll say about love languages is when I was first, going down this, this road of trying to level up and getting better with women, Love Languages was one of the first books I read. It's very mainstream. Everyone's like, oh, you got to know her love language, right? And so and when you read it, it sounds good. It sounds good, feels good, it somewhat makes sense, but you got to think of it like this, right? That book's been around since 1995, and the divorce rate has not gotten any better, right? It's so mainstream, it hasn't fixed a single damn relationship. So if you're focused on the love languages, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You really need to focus on being attractive, not being unattractive. A better book, if you want to maintain a relationship or even fix a broken relationship, is this one, The Married Man's Sex Life Primer by Apple K. It's a great one. You can also get my book, which has an entire section on maintaining attraction in the long term in an LTR. So that one you can get right now you can pre-order it right now on Amazon, the Kindle edition for only 99 cents. And then it's going to drop on December 11th with a paperback, a hardcover, and a special edition with a ridiculous cover. That's just fun, so
it is fantastic, Paul. Really appreciate
I'm going for the ridiculous cover. I need that in my life.
Good. It's really good. Hey guys,
I didn't get a chance to go, Thor.
You didn't get a chance to go? Well,
Nah.
I asked if I missed somebody.
I was trying to, but you went right to Paul. I'm like, crap. So as far as the blue pill love languages, I've lived it. It's not a very fun life. It's not very pleasant. I've been cheated on, so seen it all. As far as like the original 5 love languages, I'll go with a little bit of Offie Kingdom and Paul Benjamin on it, because we are red pill. We use a lot of tools. Add it to your toolbox. Use it as chick crack per se. Like I've used it to just talk to girls, and Paul Benjamin's actually, one of his videos is really good on describing how all 5 are actually the same thing at the end if you're living your life in a dominant masculine presence.
Yeah.
With that, what I'm up to is I just did the Dragons Monthly webinar. Paul and Thor were in there. That was a good one. Tomorrow I'll be doing a live stream sometime, anytime between probably 1 p.m. to even 3 a.m. about red pill versus blue pill in metal music, because that's one of my passions. I love metal. And a good example is like Killswitch Engage. The difference between Howard Jones's lyrics and Jesse Leach's lyrics is a good example. So I'll get into that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I put my socials in the chat if you want to hit me up. And that's all I got.
Hey, also AJ did a really awesome review of my book, so appreciate that as well.
Oh crap! Guys, I'm gonna be doing a review in the future on Paul's LOA course. I bought it. I'm going through it right now. So
perfect. I like that. That's really good, man. We got to get that rolling. Hey, and then for me, guys, I just dropped in the chat Red Pill Thor at gumroad.com. I'm offering every video lecture that I have on sale right now. And here's the thing, guys. If you want to pick up any of these, I'm going to offer a code. The code is Black Friday Thor. I'm going to drop it into the live chat right now. And I'll tell you which one's actually going like crazy right now. I did not expect it, because it will go away forever after December 18th. And it is a Game 9000. Now, AJ has seen Game 9000. I don't want to embellish it too much. And it's pretty startling because it delves into alternative lifestyle of the rich and the famous, and certain top players out there, maybe the top 5%, on how they might live their life and how they might set up an alternative lifestyle, anywhere from multiple marriages to a little bit more domestic, conventional type of unions for a man and a woman that might be on the BDSM side, and we have some experts, and of course Sterling Cooper's in there helping us out on that side as well with his advice. So if you wanted to catch that replay, it is available on Red Pill Thor Gumroad. So you can go there from the link, you can take a look and use this code right here. Can you guys see it? Black Friday Thor 15%. So it's already 60% off, and you can use and get an additional 15% off all the way until December 18th. Of course, the audiobook's available there. I appreciate all that, guys. And once again, appreciate you guys joining the DragonShip for right now. And I'm going to take you out with something that you guys can do to further enhance your life. Skull.
Masculinity is in crisis. What are we to do? We need to acquire a dominant masculine presence. Now available on Amazon. Masculinity is in crisis. Men's masculine behaviors and traits have been suppressed by popular culture. Why has it become so popular to shame, guilt, insult, masculinity, and masculine behaviors? After 50 to 70 years of this has resulted in a very large subset of men who have become weak, useless, and crisis. Pathetic state for boys and men that leads to depression and violent despair. A dominant masculine presence addresses this very dilemma for the individual man, and it firmly establishes why this is what is desperately needed by the individual man today. In this book, clearly defined masculine traits and behaviors and the emotional durability provided by traditional masculinity are presented as a guide to what every man should embed into his identity. Putting these principles and behaviors into practice will motivate and direct your path step to step to create for yourself an authentic, dominant masculine presence.